y'all, it's Parnell. We are wrapping things up here at the Black Men's event for Support Black Theater here at the Nile. We're here on the break. Y'all be sure to come in and check it out. Support Black-owned businesses. We're about to wrap up and see all the brothers out here, actors and stuff. James Pickens over there, Henry Simmons over there, J. August Richards there, and Mr. Charles Reese. How y'all doing? All right, talk to y'all later. Oh, my brother's over here. See, you know how black folks are. We got to show out.
Hello and good evening and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth. And now we know where in the hell is Parnell.
Right.
He was busy getting his black on with some dark-skinned brothers.
Oh,
Well, that's okay. We love it. We love it. We love it. Guys, we want to thank you so much for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. Gonna be excited out of hot topics. Well, not hot topics for us, but news buzz for us. But y'all can still call them hot. I don't know. You know. But anyway, I want to welcome you guys in tonight. Gonna be, as I said before, a great show tonight. We're so excited you take the time out to be a part of us each and every Saturday evening in your respective time zones. Okay, I don't have to run them down because y'all know what time y'all tuned in and turned on. All right. But anyway, do want to remind you guys real quick, definitely to go to our other social media platforms and please like and share. There's a lot of great messages out there, guys, that you could be sharing to everybody in your household, friends, and family. Go back in some of the archives of the shows and just listen. Take the time to listen because we say a lot. That's our goal, to say a lot to help improve you, help you know that you are authentic and that you're what I hear.
Oh, me? Oh, enough.
And what's yours, Parnell?
It's not my job to make you comfortable with my life.
Hello,
my interpretation.
Mind your damn business.
My life. Mind your damn business.
Right. Now, well, the same. Mind your damn business. Mind your business. The business that's supposed to pay you.
Well, absolutely. I totally agree.
Right.
Also tonight, gentlemen, at a certain part of the show tonight, we're going to be dedicating a little time to conversation for you guys tonight because we want you to better your body. All right. That's what we're calling it, better your body. All right. So if you're not doing the things to keep your body better, then you need to listen. All right. And if you're catching it for somebody else, pass it on. All right. Because we don't need no stunk Trump. Okay.
Oh, no.
Y'all know me. I'll tell you like it is. All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Oh, no, that was too pale. You would have burned orange. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we will be digging into some male hygiene tonight, guys, and kind of giving you some tips on things that you may or may not know. Okay, I'm not saying everybody knows how to do everything, but hopefully tonight you'll learn and be able to apply it. So your wife will be happy, your boyfriend will be happy, your whomever significant other will be happy with you. Okay, because we don't want you, Anyway, so moving on. Harold, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Today I had a chance to speak with this organization, Habitat for Humanity. They had me come and speak, and I was speaking from the topic between a job and a dream, and talking about just a lot of the folks have jobs, regular jobs, but in this economy, one of the things I was encouraging folks to do is definitely consider a side hustle, whatever that might be, because depending on the job in this economy, in my opinion, is just really not a wise thing to do. So was just had a chance to talk with them, and it's always good just to kind of be able to share your own experiences. And I'm always telling the truth of what I've been through and how my credit was jacked up and everything. Just a few years ago, it wasn't like it was a long time ago. And so just trying to hopefully encourage folks to wherever you are to know that, things can get better and will get better if you just believe. So it was a good day.
Very nice. Okay.
Between the job and the dream.
That's that's a very, very, very powerful in terms of what you're saying, because we have to spend time to refocusing our lives, so often, especially if you're of a certain age, because you feel like you either didn't make the right decision earlier on, and you have the opportunity to come and revisit. It's like I say for myself and us, I say, I don't have a do-over anymore. If my do-overs are done, because I'm over that requirement age of 35. So, there's not a do-overs anymore. It has to be done now. And then for the next, 50 or so that I plan to be here, when that time comes, I'm going to be just laid out. All right. Everything will be in place, so, I can't. So I agree with you. I mean,
the time is now. The time is now.
It is. What did you say last week? You said something last week that was,
you're now 55. I cannot remember what I said last week.
You know what I said. You said it was so prophetic. I mean, you said it gets better with something. You said. I'm trying to remember. Better with 55 better with 50, gets better after 50 or something.
Oh, it gets better. I don't know what I said.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you. Well, we're glad to hear from your philosophy anyway, because that was even powerful, what you said just a minute ago. So, guys, please pay attention. All right. Parnell, how you doing, baby?
I am doing really good. I just went to that event that we showed the clip. That was a Support Black Theater event. It was a Black men's event a couple of weeks ago here in LA. And it was just like so cool to walk in and see all these brothers gathered to just, talk about life, the industry. There was some good food, some music playing. It was just a really nice fellowship. Right before this, we had a Zoom call where the brothers could just like come in and talk like, hey, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. Okay. And it was interesting how all the brothers were like, man, this is great to have this space where we can just sit here and talk about the things that we experience as Black men.
Right.
How our life that we can't always talk about, with our children or, spouses or non-Black folks, but we get together like, okay, this is it. And we can all go like, yeah, I know what that is. I know what that's like. And it's very empowering. And I'm glad that this has been started, so that we can have these spaces where, it may be something where it's just conversation and listening ear, but also as an opportunity for everybody in there is involved in the industry some kind of way. So, somebody like, hey, I need a little Black man who can sing. Hey, my boy Parnell.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what, so many of industry people do. They find a core of people, and you wonder why you see the repeated actors or singers that are always at these events, because they made it in that core with those people, And to your point, I mean, not that there's a racial divide line, okay? That's not the purpose of what you're saying. It's just a purpose to be able to celebrate.
Oh, there is.
Well, no. Well, let me finish. I get you. But what I mean by that is that not to the fact that you wouldn't be able to be cast in something else, but it's nice to celebrate your own, in the process of that, without making it a quote unquote racist thing. Right. And as far as that's concerned, let me make that a disclaimer real quick, because I think that we had an audience member out there that thought that because of the conversation that we had a few weeks back, was indicative of being racial, and it really wasn't. You guys have got to understand, you have four handsome men of color right here on this show, we bring this show to bring light to subject, so if it hits you, as you say,
if it hits you, it's the truth behind the truth.
It's exactly. Like
our hit dog will holler.
Well, that's true too. Or like you used to say in the church, say if the truth finds you, and pull your toes in because somebody's stepping on your toes. It's okay. It comes across in love because we all need to grow. And if you can't grow from a conversation, then you're stuck in your own position. So that's a whole nother conversation right there if you're stuck. But I just want to say that we love everybody. But there are times when our conversation will be driven to prove a point that's happening in the community, because we want you to hear it in a truth behind the truth manner. And not in an exploited manner that the news media and all these other platforms will present it to you. At least whatever position, we don't throw you sound bites, we throw you the truth. But anyway, let's move on. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know what? To be honest with you, it's been kind of a rough past week.
Okay.
The death of my cousin.
Yes.
Aaron Coleman.
Yes.
That threw me, but it threw a lot of my family members too. And it's just one of those things. His wait and his viewing is tomorrow. The funeral is tomorrow as well. So it's just one of those things that that has kind of rocked me a little bit, just a little bit. Right. And and I'm on my vacation. This is my vacation week. My birthday is on Tuesday. So for all you tourists, hey. But we was talking about sponsorship within the industry. I was watching this documentary, and I'm such a Hollywood buff. I love stories about the legends
vintage
Hollywood. And I was thinking about Joan Crawford when you was talking about your event. And when you was talking about networking, and people don't understand whatever industry that you go into, whether it's the movies, music, business, you need somebody to sponsor you.
True.
And to hear her story is coming in from the Midwest as a dancer and coming to Hollywood and meeting this gay man, William Haynes. Now, and William Haynes was one of the first openly gay men in Hollywood, and actually married his partner in secret. One of the first gay actors who, came out, and then he left, but became one of the most celebrated interior decorators within Hollywood, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And he also decorated the White House during the Reagan years.
Okay.
So, it's just, you need somebody who believes in your talent to push you and to make your name known to somebody who might need you. So I think, that is really a message. And I have people who work beside me on my job. I tell young people who go to these acting schools within Hollywood, I said, y'all, please network. Right. Just don't sleep on it. Just network, please, because if you want to improve, you want to build up a career, you got to have somebody who sponsors you and who notices you and wants to push you towards your greatness, But that's all I had to say.
Okay.
That's such a great point, D, because what I always say to people is that decisions are made about you when you're not in the room. So you need somebody that's in the room that will advocate for you,
I like that. Decisions are made when you're not in the room. That's good. That's really, that's 2 powerful points tonight. We will have to start doing right now.
Remember in about 5 minutes.
We're trying to put together your next book.
How you feeling though? How you been doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I was excited tonight, about everything, the topic, discussion, because there's so much that goes on in the course of the time that, we end one show and start another, getting prepared for another show, and the news world always keeps moving. There's always something, and with that being said, I kind of want to slide into the news point about Jonathan Majors. Okay. I'm disappointed. I got to be honest. We have to say allegedly. Okay. But why all of a sudden all of these allegedly just start showing up now? And then they're saying that there is a track record of him having these abuseful relationships. So, the way the young lady in New York has said that, that was ever, and he's saying that she started it, and, all of these other type of things back and forth. I feel sorry for him. At this point, that at the pinnacle point of his career, or taking off, people start showing up with stuff. First it was from the hug, okay, and then now we go to an abuse situation. My thing, and we can talk about this a little bit more deeper after we get off the break. But I want to send good energy him to if he's going through a mental trauma, at this time that allows him to be so angry that if it is that he's abusing these people, then he needs to, kind of address it. But we'll talk a little bit more about him when we get back from the break. All right, guys, we'll see you right back with News Buzz with the fellas. We'll see you in a second.
pick up, call Junk Stars. Yeah. If you need a dumpster or a demolition, call Junk Stars. Yeah. Call 844-55-STARZ. Junk Stars. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
All right, and welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. We do apologize to our Facebook audience right now. We hopefully will come live in just a few minutes that the connection dropped for Facebook tonight. So just want to let you know, we know you guys are out there. We're just can't get to you at the moment, and that. But anyway, so back into Jonathan Major. So, Pernell, what's your thought on that?
Well, it has been saddening to read all about the stuff that's going on with him. And it is one of those things, again, where, even though we're supposed to be in a country where people are innocent until proven guilty, folks have just heard this like, oh, well, we can't be around him. And, I don't know what happened between him and this woman,
Right.
And everybody else is like, oh, he's this and he's that. And it says you're speculating because you weren't there either. We don't know if there was a fight between them that got out of control. Or if he is an abusive person, then yes, absolutely, he should be held accountable.
Right.
But let's find out before we just automatically just decide that, okay, well, I can't be associated with him. Like, well, then what happens if we find out that he actually is not guilty, of being an abusive person? Then what are you going to do?
Right.
Because now you trashed this man's reputation and his career, and that stuff takes a long time, if ever, to rub off. Just off for people to forget about. Oh, wasn't he accused of this? Like, yes, he was accused, but it was found. Blah 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 blah. I wish him the best.
Yeah, I do. I just hate it happened at this point in his career. After that, all the two great movies, and then had signed this deal with Marvel. For the continuation of that new character. But the sad part about this, I'm sorry, Harold, I'm jumping in on your point. The sad part about this is that he was sponsored by someone else, and then when the first alleged situation came out, they dropped him immediately, from their sponsorship. And I'm like,
that was the military commercial.
Exactly. So, and my thing, I'm gonna say this to the military. Okay, how in the world could you drop somebody immediately from something that was not proven? Number one, but we won't talk about color. Okay, but you drop someone, and then there's so many allegedly that have come out of the military that these captains, these sergeants, and all these people have been done, especially done to women. Okay, I think you need to take a good look at this rather than kind of putting that out on him and make him look, bad, in this kind of situation. But anyway, go ahead, Harold. I'm sorry.
No, it just makes me think about the fact that when people are praising you, you really have to take it with a grain of salt. Because one minute they're saying Hosanna, the next moment they're saying crucify. So, just months ago, he was the it man, and now everyone seems to be just turning against him. And so it just reminds me that anytime folks are, praising you, okay, it's nice to be, acknowledged, but you can't take that stuff to heart because it can change in an instant.
Yep. This is true. This is so true, especially in this industry. But we all can go down a list of people that have done things and have risen back to being a superstar, you know, making mega money. Robert Downey Jr. We won't talk about all of your proven allegedlys, you know, that you've done, and you become this million dollar star.
But we have seen this story so many times. It's like it's like that old Motown song. It's the same old song,
right?
You know, it's the same old song. It's like you get into any industry, and I'm sorry, with this black skin, you have to be careful who you are with.
Right.
Now, what gets me is the fact that the internet. See, now it's so highlighted because of the social media, and because of the internet, and because of people who don't know of the situation. It's that public opinion that has really colluded into what is going on factually, because you know, we don't know what's going on, but everybody's putting their own spin on it and making it more than what it really is. And then not only that, he's got his publicist that dropped him and his managers. That really, I think he should have cleaned house a long time ago.
Right.
Because if they don't have that much faith in him, then I think it's time for him to clean house within his career and hire more people who would do a better case scenario, or a better job in scrubbing this clean.
Right.
Because that right there is problematic I think within his career.
Right.
But you know, you have to be careful, and you cannot be with everybody. Everybody cannot be your friend. Betty Davis said this, and I believe this wholeheartedly. In order to have longevity in any career, everybody cannot be your friend. I'm sorry. Everybody has to be an enemy, because you're getting in the way of my dreams.
Right. Okay.
You're getting in the way of what is important to me. So you need to get out of my way.
Right.
And I think in his situation, he needs to rethink the people that he's around, and he needs to rethink the people who is working with him.
Right.
I'm just saying. And then stay out allegedly off the steroids. If you are on the steroids, stay off of them. Because anybody who got big overnight like that, something ain't right with that. But allegedly, stay off the steroids.
Because I know he was getting all built up for his movie about the little fitness dude. So
But you know what this makes me think about? This makes me think about the conversations that used to take place when I was a kid from my mothers and aunts. And I think it was a conversation around protection when in terms of who you dated, because they knew, you know, stuff like this could easily pop off. And if it's someone that looks like you, it's treated differently. So, you know, those conversations I heard a lot of that when I was a kid. You know, don't bring home certain people.
Right.
That's what my mama said.
If they can't use our comb, don't bring them home.
Well, you know, I think truth behind the truth is that we do wish him well, you know, and hopefully all of these allegedlys will, you know, go away, you know, and he begins to regain himself as the great actor that he is, you know. Every actor out here has had issues. It is fortunate enough that it has not come to the light like this has, you know, and you know, been everybody does think that they don't want somebody to know about, you know. But the number one thing is check your damn relationships. Okay, period.
And
all right,
those,
regardless of which one that you're in, check your relationship and check who the people that are around you. You know, at the end of the day, because when you start to get known, people come out of the woodwork. You know, everybody want to be your friend at that particular point in time.
And don't laugh, learn.
Oh yeah,
people that are laughing, you better start learning, because you hey, your time is coming. Everybody's time is coming. We're not, you know, excused from situations like this, because it happens to everybody.
True.
But you don't need to just sit there and laugh at this man. You need to learn from his mistakes and you know, and make some better decisions within your own world. Now going on to Cleopatra too.
Yes.
Now this is one thing that kind of triggers me, because you know y'all know I love my history. I love it. Now everybody knows that in Egypt was considered one of the first civilizations around the Euphrates River.
Right.
Besides, so that had to deal with Kemet. It wasn't always Egypt. It was called Kemet. That was a black nation. That was, you know, all of a sudden you had the Greeks, like oh my God, the Great. What was his name? They made Alexander the Great went over there and he invaded it, and he built the city of Alexandria from his mother. So the fact that has happened kind of colluded with this storyline of Egypt. Now, Cleopatra, we know if she was from Egypt, she had to have some African ancestry. So now there's this big up to do about the fact that Jada Pinkett made this docu series on Netflix, and now they are complaining within the Egyptian culture, over there in that nation, about the fact that she being black is wrong, and they should whitewash the whole entire story of Cleopatra. Now, how do y'all feel about this? Because we're having an issue over here within these United States with with the narrative of with Ron DeSantis, with the black history and all this other stuff.
Right.
Now, how do y'all feel? Now, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't.
Well, they like when Elizabeth Taylor was Cleopatra.
Right. Exactly.
They want to see that again. That's what they want to see.
I mean, and for some reason, I don't know why they thought Elizabeth Taylor came from Egypt in the first place. Okay, that's the same reason why we had the black Jesus and white Jesus. Okay, and because somehow Jesus did, he miraculously got blonde hair and blue eyes. I mean, just miraculously. So I get it. Okay, again, I know I have to stay middle of the road here. Okay, I get it. I understand. What we have is a consistent concern. I won't say problem. It is a problem. We'll say concern. Okay, that people tend to want to see people that look like them. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So the age-old history, number one, and you can speak for this, the age-old history in Hollywood is that they created characters that's going to look like the audience that will come support the film. Okay? So this is why we have this huge problem, why African Americans did not have the place in Hollywood to be accepted in these roles. Because number one, as you well know, you can very speak to this, is that films have to be able to be marketable outside of the U.S. Okay, and the other countries could not understand why people of color could be in more the glamorous roles. I'll put it that way.
And don't forget about the Midwest too, in the South.
Right, exactly. That too. Okay,
in itself.
Exactly. So, and you can speak to that. So historically, we've been the underdog when it comes to situations like that. But now there's an opportunity to do better. So when you know better, you need to be doing better. Okay, at the end of that, and I'm not saying that everybody's not trying to make inclusive programming. Okay, however, it still needs some more changes. I mean, I have a philosophy that I'm gonna shut my mouth. That behind the truth behind the truth, and its productions that we will do, it will be an inclusive production company. Okay, so that people, when you walk out the door, whoever you walk into, you'll see it on our programming. Okay, you'll be able to relate to those individuals because we relate to all of these people we're talking about on a day-to-day basis. In Hollywood, y'all know. Jackie Burks told y'all, like she told us in a meeting, look, stop looking to write for people that look like you and write for people that are in life. Okay? Let me move on. So, anybody else gonna say? I'm sorry, I know I said a lot.
It was funny because I've been with all this controversy coming up because altogether there were 7 princesses who went under the name of Cleopatra. Now this Cleopatra the 7th is the most famous one that we're all talking with Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, or whatever, and all that madness. And so it's kind of like, I would love to find out, okay, are we all talking about the same Cleopatra? Because there is a possibility that we're mixing up this famous one with previous ones. So I would love to find that out. And, people are like, oh, well, she was Macedonian Greek and this and that, or whatever. I'm like, I'm an American. Doesn't say anything about what my skin color is.
Okay.
So just being from Macedonia does not mean that she was automatically she wasn't Elizabeth Taylor. Let's just put, regardless of what it was, she wasn't Elizabeth Taylor. But we didn't have no problem with that, But you make her a black woman, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, let's look at that.
Right.
Because I've heard other people were saying, well, because of her ancestry from her father's line had some African blood in there, which by, white folks thinking that makes you black. So it'd be interesting to see how this all pans out when we really just have an honest look at Cleopatra the 7th and go like,
well, except some as you've been putting some archaeological truth behind the truth. Okay, and that's what should be the whole process of making these films. And one of the point is that now I know they kind of run hand in hand as to the biblical setting or whatever the case may be, but we also fail to realize is that Moses, the one that everybody like to talk about, following everything, Moses married a black woman too.
Oh yeah. Okay,
so and he was an Ethiopian woman that he married. Okay, and that was the long set of his relationship throughout the time that he was on this planet. So anyway, I just want to put that out there. Go ahead,
Harold.
No, I was going to say let's hear what Toni Morrison had to say.
Okay,
Grace.
I wanted to feel free, not to have the white gaze in this place. that was so precious to me, which is the work.
And you will maintain this safe place for yourself, for your art? You don't think you will ever change and write books that incorporate white lives into them substantially?
I have done.
In a substantial way?
You can't understand how powerfully racist that question is, can you? Because you could never ask a white author, when are you going to write about Black people? Whether he did or not, or she did or not. Even the inquiry comes from a position of being in the center.
And being used to being in the center.
And being used to being in the center. And saying, you know, is it ever possible that you will enter the mainstream? It's inconceivable that where I already am is the mainstream.
Wow.
You know, to expand on that, I want to say this. It is very courageous for any Black artist to find a platform where when Black people are the center, because if you always have thought about it, in any type of form of entertainment, movies, music, there's always been some form of white gaze in our situation. Yeah. And I always talk about this, about even when it boils down to us in the music spectrum of things, that we have allowed so much of our culture to be eroded. And I hate to say it like that.
I wanted to feel free.
We like it so much, we have to play it again.
I'm going to make this quick, but it's just the fact that we are losing so much of what makes us foundated as a people, because what the mainstream has taken whatever that we have created and has made so much money from it that it's like we have just given so much that we don't have nothing to ourselves anymore. Right. Nothing. I've noticed that. I have nothing, you know, and I ain't gonna go there because last night that was a situation on my job. But it's just the fact that when you use that N-word, oh my gosh, when you use that N-word and you got people from Hispanics to Asian using that very same terminology, that right there tells me that something has been let loose. Right. And it has been taken away from what was ours. Now it's just been just thrown out like garbage. And I'm sorry, I never used that word, but culturally that has always been our situation, not everybody else's.
Right. Well, no, I totally agree. And let me say this point real quick to what you're saying about that particular word. Guys, I encourage you to go back and look at the show with our great friend and brother, DeMarco Majors. He really defined that in a different way, and he brought it to light. I would encourage you. It was very educational. I forget what show that it was. Probably like 5, 6 weeks ago, he was on the show, but you can see it. All right. Go back and look at that. All right. And go back and listen to detail of what he said and defining that word. It was very powerful. Again, another educational point for you to learn something better. There's nothing wrong with getting better. There's nothing wrong with changing your ideas and making yourself better for humanity. And that's what we're trying to get you to do here. One other point, I know we got to go break. I just want to say, I had the pleasure of meeting Toni Morrison. It was a wonderful experience, you know, being in her presence. And I was in Paris at the Louvre, and she was there concluding a lecture that she was doing. And we passed each other, and I said, "Oh my God, Mr. Raymond." And she said, "Hey," you know, so we had a long, wonderful, great conversation. So she did have an opportunity to pour into me, you know. So I really appreciate that. I mean, I get humbled when I get to meet all these wonderful people that you never thought in life you would. But anyway, we got to go break. Okay, we'll be back with some more News Buzz. See you in a minute.
touch the ground. Yeah, I'm flying.
All right, and we are back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. Been a good show so far.
It
All
has
right,
been.
we're about to dig into some more. And men, make sure you get ready for probably close to the end of this segment. So then we're going to get on you. So we want y'all to have some clean butts coming up. But anyway,
A mess.
y'all know me,
A mess,
okay?
a mess.
Tell it like it is. If your ass stink, clean it. All right, let's move on.
Well, you know,
ahead.
nationwide, we've been going through a gun crisis.
Yes.
You know, and the situation in Kansas City about the teenager who went to the wrong house to pick up the siblings and got shot in the head, twice. And,
Yes.
In that situation, and then you have the one upstate New York, and you have another one out there near you. Oh my goodness, Harold, North Carolina, the little girl whose basketball rolled next door, and the guy shot at her and her parents.
Yeah.
Y'all, what's going on? What is going on? This is getting absolutely ridiculous. That's my question. What is everybody just not just let's just shoot first and ask questions later type of organization or union or culture going on? Like, wow, trigger happy. Let's just talk about that.
Well, thank you for putting our two heroes here as to making some effort in Tennessee to try to, bring up, get guns under control. I will say this about what you just mentioned about, the one thing in this particular subject that it was not necessarily totally racially motivated, because all of these other people that have experienced it were Caucasian. There was a Caucasian girl and heard that, they drove up into and it happened to them, as well. So to answer your point, I just really think that something happened to a lot of people during COVID. I mean, honestly, I think that something mentally happened when these people had to spend time alone and realize who they were or what they were. So I think they're very angry, as who they are as individuals. And then sometimes when you have to face yourself in the mirror and you can't run from it because you couldn't run outside, you couldn't even get yourself involved to put those issues you have on the back burner. So you had to face it. So now that it's all, quote unquote over, that you can be released, to go back out in public. I think they've gone completely in Stupidville, to be honest. I mean, that's just my thought. But what do you think, you guys?
Yeah, some of this, it's very interesting because I know the first two cases, again, is old white guys with guns.
Right.
The man that shot Ralph Yarl, we were talking about his grandson was like, oh yeah, he's racist. I'm not surprised that he did that because that is who he is. Right. And it's just kind of like, I just can't imagine being that filled with hate that you would shoot a child.
Right.
Much less anybody, but that you would shoot a child just because they rang on your doorbell.
Right.
And it's one thing if this boy were trying to break into his house or whatever, something like, he was in the wrong. The man has a right to defend his house, but that's not it, know. And I'm, like most people, relieved that he lived.
Yes.
But that poor boy is still traumatized. We were just talking about it earlier, where he spends a lot of his time just kind of sitting there staring off into space, just reliving that moment. It's that thing of like, why would he do that? We try to make sense out of the nonsensical.
Right.
And for the young lady that was shot, was that New York? Upstate New York. Again, her friends, they had just pulled into the wrong driveway and were backing out. There were no threat to this man.
Right.
But he was upset because I guess too many people have turned into his driveway mistakenly or whatever. I'm like, they're just turning around. They're not trying to encroach it. When people realize, oh my God, this is the wrong place. And for you to come out and just start shooting, it's like, what is wrong with you? Right. And now this man shooting at children because their ball came into this yard.
Yeah. I think it's like, I'm going to reserve my opinion. Go ahead, Harold. I don't want to cut you.
No, I was just going to say there's so much fear and frustration in America. It's just like a lot of fear, and people are just ready to pop off at the most minute thing. And it's just really, I don't know what can happen to, address it or change it, but there's a lot of fear, frustration, and even hopelessness. And we're seeing it, and it's very scary because no one is immune to the craziness that's happening. No one is immune.
Yeah.
Black, white,
Well,
nobody's immune to what's happening.
Nobody's immune, and for what it was, and I thank our engineer for putting the pictures up, and speaking to the January 6th situation. This situation has just, I think further the opportunity. We had been dealing with idiots for the past 4 years, and in their leadership. Okay, this just furthers the fact of what the mental state of these people in America. I mean, and because I have conversations at the other place of employment about where are people minds, like you said, Harold. What are people thinking? Is your life that traumatic? It has to be. You know what I'm saying? I think it's now that we're just getting exposed to all of this traumatic stuff that has been plaguing people for so long. And then now when you had this idiot in the White House for 4 years taking up space, solidifying these behaviors of these people. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't feel quite the same, before he was in the White House. At least publicly. But
they needed a push.
Well, yeah, exactly.
They needed a push.
So, for him to create this toxic, hostile environment in our country is just crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have to say in our country because we all live here, at the end of the day. But, and I honestly, I ponder, I'm like, what can we do to start helping to change the narrative? I really don't know. And a great point you brought that out here. Really.
And this is such a narcissist country because here we are, we think we're so great, but all the other countries around the world, they look at us for what we really are. We're not this great country. Come on.
And there's nothing wrong in believing that, but it's like when you go to the head with it, you know what? And this is my thing with this culture. It's like America we are so drenched in violence. In a way, anyway, it's just the fact that you listen to the music, you play the video games. Our Grand Theft Auto was huge when I was growing up. I just saw my brothers and cousins playing that, and I thought, wow, this is crazy. But the fact that you have seen this and heard this and it has internalized the message that everything that deals with violence, I don't think I think the humanity in it has been missing. It has been lost because now it's not reality. Well, it has become reality, but it's just the fantasy of violence has now become a reality. Now it's so easy to go get a gun and just shoot anybody that steps on your shoe.
Right.
I just say it's the one word. Say it's the wrong word.
Just look at you. Just look at you.
It's crazy.
Right.
So you know what? It's just the fact that I don't know what it's going to take for this country to get its head wrapped around enforcing some form of gun policy when you have the NRA that's just and some politicians who are just combating it tooth and nail. But hey, it's going to take Americans to get angry. We don't have to get angry. We're going to.
And that's a good point. I don't think that far as like to your point, Harold, and Oliver, I think the narcissism and the complete I've arrived attitude and all this other type of there is no love for your fellow man. At the end of the day, and we may have to see a lot of people's lives be terminated until some of these people are those that are directly involved to wake up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it could be them, themselves, looking down the barrel of a gun unexpectedly, for that situation to change for them and being put in that same position or their loved ones or whatever, But the one thing I will say this, and we're going to move on, is that one thing we can't forget, Karma, her name is a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And she will show up at the right time and throw some shit in your plate that you just can't deal with.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of this stuff that we got going on, karma coming your way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to our good friend Alec Baldwin, whose charges just got dropped, you need to be you need to start up an organization.
You should be a champion for gun control.
That's right.
Seriously.
Because you seriously, missed the bullet yourself.
Right. That's true.
And I'm not trying to
No
be
pun
funny,
intended,
though,
right.
that right there, you should be on really pushing this narrative now that everything has been cleared.
Right.
So I'm just saying for Alec Baldwin, get on your soapbox
platform.
Get on your soapbox.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this substitute teacher situation.
Let me before we go there, I just want to say one other thing just about the, and me and Parnell probably can speak to this a little bit more. I've worked on shows with guns. Okay, at the end of the day, I have been a police officer on shows. I worked on a show that was on ABC that we were in gunfire situations, like we were running through situations and all that. But one thing was sure, we made sure that there were no bullets in the gun. Okay, I mean, I have. So I don't know how it happened. We had the same person that once you stepped off set, you had to turn that gun right in. It wasn't hanging out with you. It wasn't holding on to it. You had to get that gun until you got back on set for that scene to shoot. So, I mean, I'm just saying. But I know substitute teacher. All right, we're gonna move real quick. So I don't know if you guys remember, in at least you guys speak about this, that this young lady in Georgia was in Rockdale County High School. It was all over the internet. Okay, this young lady, African American young lady, she just showed her ass in front of the teacher. Okay, she really did. There's just no mistaking about this. All right. We want to say that we blame parents. Okay, something had to happen in the home. Okay, for her to feel this good to step to a teacher, an adult. I mean, I'm just a slightly teacher, a grown adult. Okay, and step like she was the teacher's mother. At the end of the day, she came up with the words and what you wasn't going to say, and I don't like this. Slapped the woman's hand out of her phone. Now, you can Google it if you want to. It's there. Okay, and literally pushed the woman out the door. Tried to close the door. And the woman come back in her room, and then she started, kind of coming up on the woman. She said, "You're not going to put my hands on it." What the teacher said. Then the girl slapped her, and it was on. Okay. This kind of behavior, I think it all kind of intertwines as to what we're talking about. Not so much in the gun area, but the behavior, the mental behavior. What, as a people, what's wrong? These young people, and this girl couldn't probably, I think she wasn't even 16 and going on like this. It's bad. It was really bad. I watched it 2-3 times. I said, now, come on now. Really? Well, where's your mama? But anyway.
Well, I have to, I see it a little differently because I don't know that it's all the time the parents that are responsible for their children's behavior. I see too often kids coming from quote unquote stable household with mom and dad and all the other stuff and act out, in public or do things that don't represent who their parents are. So I think that's the easy thing to say. It's what's going on in the household with the parents, but I don't know if that's always the case because this lady's the girl's mom actually came out and supported the teacher and said that her daughter got her daughter was acting inappropriate and got what she got. Mm-hmm. And I think has had some history of just acting out, and it just kind of came to a head in that classroom. But this I don't think that this was like an isolated event for that young lady.
Okay. Can we play that video?
Yeah, I know we have the video as to what happened. We can take a look at it real quick here.
Viewers' discretion.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because this is a beatdown.
Getting it prepared. Here it is.
She threw the phone. You're not gonna talk to me like that. You're not gonna talk to me like that. You gotta stay my face right now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Put your hands on me. Yeah, but I gotta put your hands on me. Give me your hands on me. Get so skinny.
Stop it right there.
So you know what?
Oh God.
So this is not even the video that I was referring to. So
no, that wasn't the video, but I know what you're talking about. That video I was scared of because she didn't have no undergarment.
Yeah.
So that was the one I was scared of. I said that's why I said viewers' discretion advised because you're gonna see a lot. But
and what's so unfortunate about this? How can teachers teach under that kind of pressure? And because the other teacher who got into the altercation with the student was mentioning that she's no longer going to be teaching in the classroom. It was talking about how others of her colleagues have left the profession because that was an isolated incident. She said another teacher got beat and at the same school, one got a gun pulled out on them at the school. So it's just a lot of, again, when we talk about a lot of fear and frustration, it's everywhere. It's just rampant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
That gives another argument to gun control because there's no reason kids should have access to guns like that.
Right.
You know, I say all the time, my mom was in the sheriff's department. She had a gun. To this day, I still don't know where my mother kept that gun. We knew she had one, and you know, and she knew that, you know, kids are nosy as hell and will go searching for it. When they know there's a gun in the house, they're going to go try to find it. And I remember my sister and I finding the bullets, but we never did find that gun. And I remember years ago asking my mom, you know, I was like, we never did find that with that gun. And she was like, yeah, no, you didn't. I'm like, oh, you're still not going to tell me where.
Right. No, I was raised with a gun in the house too. I mean, because, you know, after my father, you know, transitioned when I was 12. So, you know, mom just thought it was necessary, you know, to be super protected, and she learned how. But I did find it, but I ain't touch it. Okay. I did find, like you said, part of being nosy. I'm like, ain't touch this thing, you know.
But this culture of acting out is just
it really is.
It's out of hand. Yeah, and I want to tell you this short story because we got 2 minutes into break. It is just the fact that, you know, when I was going to school, teachers were rough. Now I ain't gonna lie, we had our teachers.
Right.
But one thing I did not ever want to do is fight a teacher. Now there was a situation where, you know, there was a lady that was very unfair to me. And, you know, when it got out of hand, I just said, you know what, I want to leave and call my mom. And get her up here to straighten this out. And I talked to the principal too, and we had a conversation. The parent, the teacher, and the principal had a conversation. Now, did we get it all straightened out? No, but we had an understanding.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's the issue. The foundation is not there anymore.
The respect isn't there. The respect. I didn't cuss the whole bunch of teachers out in my head. But it didn't come out of my mouth.
Right, exactly. And you knew the line of respect and where to go with that, you know, and it's just not there. But anyway, we got a quick break. We'll come back talking about cleaning your body. All right, we'll see y'all in a minute.
As a cancer survivor, I stopped using regular deodorant, and here's why. Most deodorants contain aluminum and synthetic fragrances associated with a variety of health issues. If you look closely, there is a warning that says ask a doctor before use if you have kidney disease. So instead, I use lemons. That's right. The acids in lemons actually kills bacteria that causes odor. And it really works. And it's real easy. All you have to do, you can cut a lemon in half and apply, or you can juice it and spray it on. Now, the juice will last up to a week. Just put it in the refrigerator, and there you go. That's your all-natural and safe deodorant.
Thank you for that.
Yes, you can freeze that and put some sugar on it and call it lemonade.
That's some sugar on it.
Yeah, okay.
The lemon keeps the musk away.
That reminds me of that old Saturday Night Live sketch. It's a floor wax. It's a dessert topping. It's a floor wax. It's a dessert topping. It's a floor wax and a dessert topping.
But anyway, so digging into the subject real briefly in the next few minutes that we have. The number one statistic that's out there, typically I'm gonna start with women first. Women complain.
You say statistics?
Statistics, yes.
Okay.
Statistic. The number one statistic complaint that comes from women, okay, is male hygiene. Okay, I mean, it is way up on the list. Okay, guys. All right, you guys need to start doing something. All right, seriously. Or if you don't know, here's your educational piece. Okay, let's start with manscaping.
Wait a minute.
Okay, hold on. Let's start with manscaping. Okay, there is no need for you to have a bush running all out your underwear. Okay, I'm serious. Get you. There is okay, there's too many products that are out there for you to do a trim. Okay, I don't want to get product placement to these people yet because they haven't signed on to be on the Truth Behind Truth, yet. So we can give them product placement. But I will mention that there is a lot of opportunities in razors that are out there that are designated to give you a trim in the bush. Okay, trim the bush, fellas. All right,
because hair carries odor.
Thank you. I was going to say the hair carries.
Some people like an afro.
Well, afro. Okay, somebody need to cut the afro. Okay, we done got through with blowouts. Now that happened back in the 70s. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, but so in a serious but here's please, gentlemen, start paying attention to your lower extremities. Okay, there is nothing wrong with putting the proper after you wash, whatever you do, but some deodorant down there. I mean, now here was speaking about the
lemon.
The lemon, that's even to go if you're a naturalized person. Okay, that's fine. But use something that is going to create a better aroma. Okay, now let's get into the fact that some people like some pheromones that comes from that at a proper time. Pheromones and funk, there's two different things. Okay, that's a way different. There's two different types of subjects. Okay, funk and pheromone don't work together. Okay, they don't work together at all. All right, so please, gentlemen, start with that. Okay, and like I said, there's tons and tons of products out here now. There's a new deodorant that's out there that they're advertising on social media that is very good for that particular area. Like I said, I don't want to mention it because I don't want to get placement until
like the song says, get the funk out my face.
Get the funk out my face. Absolutely.
That statistic wasn't even for men and women.
Well, no, I hadn't finished yet. Okay,
the statistic
so then
the women.
Yeah, exactly. So then, then we have our LGBTQ community. Okay, the primary function of a lot of things that happen in the LGBT community happens below the belt. Okay, truth behind the truth. All right, my LGBT community, you need to be on it tough. Okay, really tough. Okay, now I don't want to get into what y'all do. Okay, okay, but you need to. So, lastly, we're going to run out of time. Okay, pedicures and manicures. Okay, take care of the feet, take care of the hands. Okay, if you got dirty fingernails, please, go get them taken care of. Okay, please go get them taken care of. I'm gonna say one more time. Please go get them. I don't have time. I saw this guy the other day. Came in my store. Oh my God, he smelled like weed, and you thought that he'd been digging in the damn dirt. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, really, it's just, it is. It's bad. Okay, fellas, take care of your shit. Okay, please take care of it. Oh, lastly, there's wipes to wipe your butt after you poop. Okay, get some wipes. All right. What they call them? They call them.
With that, we don't see y'all.
Next week. All right. This is the Truth Behind Truth because it needs to be talked about. It definitely needs to be talked about. Fellas, give me your one 30-second opinion on this. We got to close the show.
We got to go. We'll talk about it next time. Bye. I'll see you next week.
All right, guys. This has been a great night on the Truth Behind the Truth. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, you've heard the subject. Become accountable. Love on your people. Love on everybody. Let's bring some of this to a close. Okay, with all these issues that we have going on in humanity. All right, and men, you know what I just told you. Wash your ass. We'll talk to you next week on the Truth Behind the Truth. Good night.